Hello and welcome to Quilt Addicts Anonymous. Today is a very exciting video. I get to share with you that pre-orders are now open for my second book, Fat Quarter Workshop. It's going to be coming out in October with Landauer Publishing, also Fox Chapel Publishing. They're owned by the same people. And so I'm super excited. If you've been a fan of our Stashing with Stephanie videos, we've taken our top 10 patterns from that and we have combined them in the book. Plus there are 2 exclusive patterns that you can only get by getting a copy of Fat Quarter Workshop. And this is maybe the best part. So there's 12 patterns all together and it's just $14.99 for the entire book. So you've got the front of the book, which goes over some of the techniques and how-tos for quilting, how I select fabric, things like that. And then when we get into the second half of the book, it's all the patterns, 12 of them, full color with new graphics and new photography. It's very, very exciting. And of course, we've got videos to go with every single quilt. We'll be putting out the 2 new videos to go with the quilts that are exclusive to the book in the next month or 2 as the book comes out and we get ready for that. But you can pre-order your copy today over at shop.quiltaddictsanonymous.com. As soon as those arrive in October, I will spend a day or 2 just signing them all and we will get them all shipped out to you. So if you've been a member of the Stashing with Stephanie Club for a while, make sure to check your email because we're sending you guys out some special coupon codes so you guys can get this book for a discount. And if you're not a member, you consider joining. It's a great club. You get fabric every month plus a free pattern and lots of other goodies, exclusive coupon codes that you can use. You'll get first dibs on Christmas sale stuff when we get to Black Friday. So lots of perks for joining that club. So check that out. We've got a link to it in the description down below. But right now I want to kind of go through some of the patterns that we have pulled to go through it. And they are in order of technique. And so we've kind of grouped them together in the different types of quilting techniques that are going to be used. So if you really like Bargello, all of those are together. All the half square triangles together, all the 60 degrees are together. So you can kind of work your way through the book, expanding on the techniques as you go, because they do kind of get harder as they go along, just like in the first book that we did, Simple Quilts of Modern Home. We still do have copies of that as well, so you can go ahead and order that if you want a copy of that one as well, and I'll sign them both and ship them off to you. So let's take a closer look at the quilts that are going to be in the book, tell you a little bit more about the story behind them, and of course we'll always talk about the fabric. A lot of the fabric in the quilting world is kind of a one and done thing. Like it's put out there and then it sells out and then they don't bring it back. So in some of these cases we are going to be offering kits. In other cases we are going to be offering like new versions of the kits when we've been able to find lines that kind of, you know, speak to the original quilts. So we'll go through that and we'll talk about these and break it down for you. And of all the ones that already have videos to go with them, we're going to link that to the tutorials to go with that on our blog page, because those tutorials are no longer going to be on the pattern page because you can't buy these patterns individually anymore on the website, because it's a much better deal to just go buy the book. So again, it's called Fat Quarter Workshop. You can pre-order now for $14.99 or you can wait until October, but pre-order now. It's not that far away. It'll be fun. All right, so let's take a look at the quilts. So the first one in the book is called Frequency, and this one is hands down the most popular Stashing with Stephanie pattern we have ever done. It is a monochromatic Bargello, and it features really small Bargello pieces, but it actually goes pretty quickly because you are going to be strip piecing all of those, so it actually goes a lot faster than you would think. The original fabric for this was a cotton steel line called Newsprint, and it literally popped in my head when I couldn't sleep one night. I have insomnia and now I have a newborn, well, not so new anymore, but she's up all the time still wanting to eat. So a lot of my best ideas come to me in the middle of the night when I can't sleep. So this one was one of those. I had been thinking about what was I going to do with it, and then I just saw the, you know, up and down motions that kind of look like sound waves of the Bargello, and I made it happen. I always test things out on the computer first, and then to make sure that what I'm thinking is going to work, and then we go from there. And this was one of them, and it was so fun. So what you want, we kind of did a little cheat with this one. I made it work by using 2 of the same fat quarter bundles, which basically means you could buy 12 half-yard prints too, and that we would get the same effect. Now this fabric is long gone, we're not able to get any more, but there's a new line that's going to be coming out soon, I believe before the book comes out. So we're going to be able to do another round of these kits for you, and you can, so just keep an eye on that. Make sure you're subscribed to our videos and to our email alerts over at shop.quiltaddictsanonymous.com so you can get more info about that. So Modern Rainbow Bargello is actually about the same size as Frequency, but it uses half of the fabric. And the reason why you can get away with that is because the pieces are a whole lot bigger. We're using one of the Cave releases, and Cave always looks good, big and bold, because those prints are just fabulous. You don't want to cut them up too small. So in this particular release, it was a rainbow version that came out. Normally Cave does a hot and a cool colorway when he splits stuff up, but this particular line was meant to be used as an entire rainbow, so that's what we did with this one. And there were 4 different colorways that you could have gotten as part of the club, but in this one, you know, any of them would work. I just grabbed this one to do the quilt with, and this one goes so super fast. The Frequency was just available in one size. This one is available in multiple sizes. We go ahead and did more extra math for you, and again, it's super fast, super quick, because you're going to sew those strips together and then sew them into tubes and then cut them apart, and it just goes super fast. And this one's really fun, and I didn't do too fancy of quilting on this one. That way the movement of the fabric is what is sort of pulling your eye there. Garden Pot, this was also an all-time favorite of you guys for the pattern. I just really love this one because it really allows the fabric to shine. Sometimes we get fabrics and they're just in the too pretty to cut up pile in your stash, and this is a good one to use for that, because some of these pieces are as big as 12 by 4 once they're finished, and so you can really see a whole lot of it. And I didn't fussy cut anything in this line. I just kind of let it go, and it still was absolutely beautiful. We used Legendary by Pat Bravo for this one, and it was just a beautiful line. It was her 40th fabric collection, and that sort of chevron-y print that we had continuous for the border just really made that pop. Now we probably can get more of this fabric. Art Gallery does tend to keep things around for a long time, so if you guys really want this, pop a message in the comments and let me know, and if we get enough interest, we can bring this kit back, but we have to get enough interest to make it worth bringing in 17 bolts of fabric to make this happen, because it's a little bit of an investment. So I want to make sure that we have a lot of people who want to do it before we commit to doing that. Ribbon Candy is also one of my absolute favorites. This one looks super complicated, but it really is not. We strip piece almost all of this for those diagonal bits, and this is another one where you can really show off that fun fabric. I'm always a big fan of Allison Glass, and when I saw her holiday line, I knew I needed something like that, and we were going to use it for stash quilt, and you guys really loved it. This fabric was gone before we even put our video tutorial out. All of our Stash with Stephanie subscribers just ate it up and got as much as they could to make this, but you wouldn't have to just do it in holiday. I've seen it done in Cave and in some other big bold prints. What is key is having that good neutral background that gives the eye a place to rest, so that way you can have good contrast and let your fabrics be the star of the show. I really loved using the woven fabric that Allison Glass puts out. It had a great hand to it, and it really pressed nicely. Shelly Moore quilted this one of Quilt Stitching by Shelly, and I love what she did with it. She was funny. I usually let her do what she wants to do. I'll give her like real loose guidelines, like I feel like this one could be geometric or, you know, something like that. But for this one, she was like, I was thinking maybe some chevrons following the lines, and I was like, I was thinking the exact same thing. I just never had time to quilt it. And so she managed to get that done for me on quilt deadline, because, you know, it was just a little nuts. I got this book together during the pandemic while homeschooling my kindergartner at the time, and I had a very young baby. I agreed to turn in a book deadline when my baby was like 3 months old at the time of the deadline. So it was nuts. It's already been a nuts year, and then you add those things on top of it, plus trying to run a business, and it was just totally crazy, but we made it happen, and so I'm excited to see this come to fruition here. All right, we're up to Maze. This is one of the exclusive patterns for the book. It is a log cabin, and it is a larger sized log cabin as far as the pieces go, which means two things. One, you're going to be done a whole lot faster because you're not dealing with teeny tiny little bits, and two, it allows you to put the focus on the fabric. So with the Stash with Stephanie Club, I am always inspired by the fabric first, and then we combine some sort of pattern that features that and really does that fabric justice. So I don't, in most cases, want to cut things up super tiny, because then we lose the fun stuff from the fabric. Up and Away was another one of your guys' favorites. I think because it uses that fabric really big. You know, we all have that too pretty to cut up file. And this one has a mix of a few smaller pieces and then some really big ones to let the fabric shine. And this one was fun because it was like this magical woodland. It was an art gallery collection as well. It was Mystical Land by Maureen Cracknell. And it just was really cute because it had these like actual woodland creatures and then a very adult looking unicorn. So that way all of us, you know, could have a unicorn and not feel like we were being too childish. And the colors are just beautiful and go really well in a modern home, and art gallery always feels really well to work with as well. And it was just super fun to have and to quilt on as well. And I actually shared a photo of this on Instagram. We'll pop it in the video too, of my daughter helping me hold the quilt up. We did it before a theater class lesson with her when we originally released the pattern. And this is another one where if there's enough interest, we can bring this quilt kit back. So just pop a comment in the below if you like seriously want and need this quilt in your life, and if we get enough interest, then we can bring that back in. But again, it's got to be like a lot of you need to want it, because you need to let me know, because it's a lot of fabric to bring in. So we need to know for sure that you guys are going to love that. So pop a comment if that is something that you want. So Twinkle was using one of the lines from my dear friend, Jessica Vandenberg. You know her also from our videos of the bag patterns. She does all of those. So she came out with Juniper, and it was really this fabulous, fun, whimsical line, but it had almost an equal amount of light prints as it did the bright, bold ones. And that can be challenging when you're working with it as a designer, because you need to have ways to separate that. So I came up with this star block where it was like two stars colliding, and in the center were just the plain squares of using all those lighter prints, and then the outside we used one of the light prints just for the background. And then the outer star points, so all the half square triangles, those were all of the brighter, bolder prints, so that we were able to create some nice separation between the light center and the bold prints, and then the light background, so that way your block design really shows up very clearly, because that can be challenging when you have a design like that. So if you've got a fat quarter bundle that you've been looking at where you have that problem where it's just a whole lot of bold and then a whole lot of light, and you're like, how do I use all this together without taking away from and like having this be lost against the background, this is a great pattern to do that with. Hugs and Kisses is super fun because it is just half square triangles. Like every single block in this is just a half square triangle, and you can either make an X or you can make an O with it, and it's super fun. We used Me and You Modern Batiks to do this, and people really liked it. I was a little nervous because sometimes modern quilters are like, oh no batiks, but you guys really loved this line. It was a lot of fun to work with, and it was really fun to quilt up as well. I was on kind of a time crunch when I was quilting this one, so I did ruler work within the X's and O's, and then just some swirly free motion in the background. If I would have had more time, I would have done ruler work on the whole thing. But it was a really fun one to put together, and it's a really great one if you're looking to really master those half square triangles, because trust me, by the time you are done with all these, you will be a pro. Mariposa is another quilt that is exclusive to the book. You cannot find this pattern anywhere else, and actually all the ones we've taken off, you can only get them in the book, but you would not have purchased this anywhere else. This one uses a little bit of just some simple piecing along with a little bit of paper piecing for those butterfly bodies. We're going to be doing a video tutorial on this, and we will be having kits available to go with it. It is using the Tula Pinks new collection, and that's the ones that's basically like a really great basics collection of Tula. So it's her True Colors. It's the second iteration of that for her, and it's just super fun. And I used a lot of the geodes and then the hexie designs to go with that. We actually did a video on where I was going through the entire collection and doing a poll to figure out what was going to go in the quilt, and you can kind of see how I made my decisions there. And this one was super fun to put together. It was another one that came to me in the middle of the night when I couldn't sleep one night, and this is actually going to be my baby's baby quilt. She actually hasn't used it yet because she was too little to use it, and of course you wouldn't want to give a baby that could spit upon a quilt something that you're going to be using for professional photography for your book. But now she is old enough to use the quilt, and it is on its way back to me, so she'll get to get some baby on quilt photos with this pretty soon. So maybe it'll come back in time to shoot this video, but maybe not. We'll see. I'll definitely share it on Instagram, so you can follow us there at Quilt Addicts Anonymous. You can see my baby on this quilt, and it's fun. It's a nice break from the pandemic to see cute baby with handmade things. Congruence was another one that you guys just loved. This fabric was just gone instantly, and we were still doing shows pretty frequently at the time that this came out, and so we had this hanging at the quilt show in Chicago, and people were like, give me that fabric, like they just needed it. And this is a really busy quilt. It is an Anna Maria Horner print. It was tambourine, and so you really could do this with like any one of hers or any busy one. And what I basically did was I kind of grouped the fabrics into 4 main colorways, which is kind of challenging sometimes, but especially when you have a really busy one like an Anna Maria or like a Cape or something like that. But I grouped it into 4 main colorways, and I used that to create the large triangles and then also the pieced triangles. And it really is just one 60-degree triangle shape. It is not hard. We put the quilt together in straight rows, so it goes together really fast and really quickly. So it's a really good introduction to those 60-degree triangles. And of course, we've got the video tutorial that'll walk you through it. This fabric is no longer available, but we're always getting a new Anna Maria, and also really any fabric where you can clearly split it into 4 main colors will work great with this. As far as the quilting goes on this, I really didn't do anything too fancy. I just did some wavy lines because the fabric was so busy. Anything I did with it was gonna just get hidden anyway, so I just kind of did that to add some motion and movement to it. Starburst features another fabric line from my friend Jessica Vandenberg. This was her first collection, Gypsy, and I had always been wanting to do one like this. I had seen it in my head, and I had kind of sketched it out onto the computer, and I was trying to figure out, you know, what line would be good with this. And I really enjoyed this one because you get 2 sets of diamonds, or 2 sets of blocks really, from each 2 pairs of fat quarters. So basically you have like a positive and a negative of each block, and they're just mirror images of each other or reverse. So the one that is the big diamond then becomes the small diamond and vice versa. And I just really enjoyed doing this because you were doing like basically 2 blocks at a time. So you felt really accomplished as you were working on it, or at least I did, because I was able to see that it was progress coming together and that I was getting the bigger and bigger stacks of blocks, and then it was fun to really put it all together. And I had a ton of fun quilting this one too. It was just super fun to play with the rulers, both the straight and the curvy lines, to create that fun texture and really accentuate that diamond. And I do have a GoPro now, so we're gonna be doing some more quilting videos on the long arm instead of just on the domestic sewing machine, so stay tuned for that, and it's going to be a lot of fun. You can get some of my tips and tricks. I'm by no means like award-winning level when it comes to that, but I think I'm probably on par with where a lot of you guys are or would like to be. And we can't all be, you know, Natalia Bonner, and we're never going to be as good as a computer, but there's lots of tips and tricks you can have to make your quilting turn out better on your long arm at home. So the final quilt in the book is Radiance. This is another 60-degree diamond and triangle pattern. This is actually the same part of the block as you saw in Starburst. The part that makes up the different stars is just kind of turned, instead of fanning out, it's just turned on its side. And the measurements are the same. Everything is the same. It just shows you how much setting can matter. And this one too, I kind of split it up into 4 different colorways in terms of where those big diamonds were going to be. And that allowed me to create some consistent movement throughout the piece, and it really worked out well. It was more of a controlled scrappy look instead of just let's throw the fabric out there and see what happens. I really prefer that controlled scrappy. And then of course we picked one fabric for the background so that way the eye had a place to rest, and I had a ton of fun quilting this one as well using those ruler work, and it really just kind of accentuated the shape and made things pop. Well, I hope you really have enjoyed the quilts and Fat Quarter Workshop. I sure had a ton of fun making them, and I know you guys have had a lot of fun making them as part of the club. I hope that you guys go out and grab the book. Again, if you are a Stashing with Stephanie subscriber, check your email because we have a special coupon for you so you can get a deal on this book. But for anyone who isn't, you can either join and get the coupon, and plus a bunch of other fabulous deals. You'll have to check it out. We'll have some info on it in the video description down below. But it also, the book is just $14.99. So normally our patterns are $12. So this is an awesome deal because you're getting 12 patterns for $15.99. I mean, what could be better? And they're all in book format, and there's full color, and we have some new photography and a couple of new graphics. It is just fabulous and it's beautiful. So if you've been a member of the club and like everything's saved on your iPad or something, you want something tangible, this is a great opportunity to get that, and it can sit on your bookshelf and you can flip through and see the patterns. And then also I will sign any book that you get from us, and also we'll put a link to it. This is my second book, so you can always check out Simple Quilts from the Modern Home, and that one is also still available, and we'll have a link to that as well. Well, thanks so much for watching and for following along, and to all of you, because this book would not happen if you guys weren't here and loving the quilt designs that we do. You guys are a big part of making this happen, so thank you very much for that, for following along and for helping us get to where we're at. This is truly an amazing job. That this is my job, and this is how we support our family and other families as well of people who work for us. So thank you so much. Thank you for your support, and go buy the book. Go pre-order it. We'll be shipping in October. I'm not sure when in October. It's supposed to arrive sometime in September, but sometime in October we're supposed to have it and be shipping it out to all of you. So thanks so much, and happy quilting.